Welcome back everyone. We hope you are refreshed and ready for another engaging round. Let us now felicitate our esteemed speaker, Dr. Shariful, an Associate Professor in the Department of Mathematics, Indian Institute of Engineering, Science and Technology, Shibpur, Howrah, India. To do the honor, I would like to invite our Principal, Dr. Rajiv Roy, to kindly come forward and felicitate our speaker with a token of gratitude and appreciation. Please, sir. Thank you, sir. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce Dr. Shariful, an Associate Professor in the Department of Mathematics, Indian Institute of Engineering, Science and Technology, Shibpur, Howrah, India. He had completed his MSc in Mathematics from Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, India in the year 1997. He also had completed his MSc in Engineering from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore in the year 2003. He was awarded his PhD in Mathematics from Bengal Engineering and Science University, Shibpur, Howrah, India in the year 2011. He had already published more than 130 research papers in reputed journals, mostly in Scopus or SCI Index journals, and written some book chapters. At present, his number of H-Index publication is 30, IIEST Index is 91 and paper citation is 3328. Under his guidance, 14 research scholars have been completed their PhD degrees. Recently, one scholar has submitted PhD thesis and 8 more are currently working under his supervision. He delivered more than 30 invited lectures at both national and international level in several countries. To brief about today's session, we are going to learn about group discussion making imprecise environments, especially in Neutrosophic context, current scenario and challenges. We now hand over the session to Dr. Alam. Please, sir.
this is a very formal kind of interaction. Don't consider this thing as a job. Okay. I'm sorry, I could not prepare well for this presentation. So formally I will discuss and I will just share my experience, nothing else. So first of all, I will just show a little bit. Okay, so as a faculty development program, so I think we have two kinds of responsibility. One is teaching, another is research. So what we can contribute in research, that is one kind of focus, and another kind of focus, how we teach our students. So actually, I will try to just ask these two kinds of things, and so that the students can be motivated, because these students are very, very intellectual now. So if we can motivate, that's more than enough. Okay. Before this thing, just I will try to show one thing. So basically, I will try to present little bit of multi-criteria decision making in imprecise environment. So what is that multi-criteria decision making? Okay, take a very simple example. Suppose we want to purchase any kind of product, say mobile. So or we want to purchase a car, new car. So lots of options. When you do that kind of research, so lots of options will be listed. Which kind of features you want, and what is the budget, etc. So taking this thing optimally, you have to take a decision. Now this decision can be taking the input from one person or taking the input from several persons. So now the data input, generally we are habituated with rich environment, but in real life the data will come in imprecise nature. That means ODS is fuzzy in nature. ODS is some kind of fuzziness, haziness is there. So how to tackle that kind of data and will arrive at decision. That's our motto in multi-criteria decision making. So is this concept clear? So what is the concept about multi-criteria decision making? So just simply, so I will assume that multi-criteria decision making already I elaborated. This is the kind of problem. So where we can apply, for example, in recruitment process. Okay, say sorting of candidates for admission, and any kind of decision where lots of factors is involved and these factors are not complete. Some kind of fuzziness is involved. So that is that MCG. Now the basic concept of MCGL process. So how will you approach in this process? So first step, you have to identify your goal. This is the first step of this process. So what's your goal? Okay. For example, set up the straightforward involvements, the correct identify with goals of final output of decision making process. Second step, selection criteria. Better give you example. Suppose you want to purchase a new car. So what is the selection criteria? Maybe oil consumption. Okay. Total price. Okay. So what are the space? What are the RPM speed? Lots of criteria you can identify. If you are a technical person, you identify these are the crucial criteria. So these are the criteria. Then alternatives. What are the alternatives here? Different models are there. Different company, different models are there. So these are the alternatives. So from that alternative, you have to optimally choose one thing based upon this criteria matching this. Now, selection of weight methods. So what is the selection of weight method? Generally, the selection of weight which will come in this picture when several decision makers are there. That means you are taking the input data from different people. So you see, suppose you are going to purchase a new car or new home. You know this is a system engineer. He knows very well about this technicality, etc. So he or she will give some opinion. So how much weightage you will assign? Okay, maybe sometimes you have to give the assignment. Okay, you have to assign your wife or family member. Even you don't, you know, they are not expertise, but still, for emotional purpose, you have to give some weightage. So what will be that? Criteria of weightage. Okay, you have to fix this. And then important is things. So lots of data is there. So how to aggregate this data? This aggregation is important. How to aggregate this data and it will come to a final decision. So this is my decision based on this data, based on this expertise in the data. This is my final decision. So these are the very simple step of MCQ procedure. Although most challenging part is aggregation. Most challenging part is just how to mathematically aggregate this data. I just simply go through for the illustration of this MCQ procedure, I am just taking a very simple example. Hypothetical kind of example. Let an employer wants to rank applicants for job. So what is the objective here? First step you have to identify the objective. So what is the objective here? To identify ranking of this employer. Which one is the first, second, third, etc. That's my objective. So selection criteria. Suppose this is come for the job interview. Selection criteria we identify to get academic qualification, experience, and reference. So we for illustration three simple criteria. So these are the criteria. Okay. Now generally this recommendation will come as qualification or experience just in this way. First you have to quantify this thing. So for that quantification you need a scale. Up to this thing is it clear? It's very simple. So that there are two candidates. One is Romeo, another is Juliet. Okay, we are just taking three criteria: qualification, experience, and references. Okay, and these are the data. Okay, given by this expert. Like this is the Romeo score, Juliet is score. These are the data which given. Now we have to quantify. So first for the core we rate the citation score is 0. Let for fair this kind of scaling will be. Okay, but this is a very hypothetical and very simple procedure that will be not sustained in real life. Okay, that I will discuss later on how to take the challenge. One part is real life. So this is for a hypothetical kind of example, at least in the student level. Okay, we are just explaining what is this kind of thing. So we are saying 4 is nothing but this thing. And qualification, we are putting that weight is okay, only one single expert, only for qualification which weight is giving 50%, and experience weight is given 32%, and references we are giving to 18%. So what is the simple procedure to rank this data? You have to, without going there, so what's your opinion? How will rank this data? In a student level, what's your opinion? Suppose you just think. Suppose I have given these are the in both the scoring is that 0. Let experience it. This scale is given. So how to rank these two people? How to score? Any idea? Simple arithmetic mathematical average. That's a simple tool, mathematical averaging, nothing else. Actually, all these are the simple concepts, and we will just modify this concept to reach to our real life problem. Okay, the simple tool is just averaging. How will average? You see this 4, the weightage is 50%, so 0.5 into what is the score for 4? 0. So 50 into 0. Okay, that for experience, this score will be experience. Is good, that score is 100, so this weight is this into 100, so actually this is called weighted average. Okay, this is nothing but weighted average. Then this weighted average, the first one is point is this thing, and we make this data first weighted average for the second candidate, and we are getting this score. Now we tell you which one is the good candidate. since the score of the second grade is 58, obviously we select this thing as the right one. This is a very simple procedure, but life is not so simple. So we just modify this kind of concept. That's the advancement needed to tackle our real kind of business. So first of all, what is the MCEM and MCGD? Okay, these are two kinds of procedure. MCEM is nothing but multi-criteria decision making, and MCGDM is nothing but multi-criteria group decision making. So basically, there is a one single decision maker is there, and in the MCGDM, there are lots of a group of people is there who is giving the input data, and you are arriving to this decision. So this is the basic. So, but you see, alternative should be finite, and obviously attributes should be finite. Okay, what are the alternatives? So in case of car modeling, car purchase, the alternatives are different model of car like Paradev, one another model is there. That are the alternatives. And what are the attributes? Attributes are the features, nothing but the features. So forget about this thing. Okay, I will discuss later on. Now real life challenges. You see, suppose selection of mobile. Okay, now you identify this criteria. Maybe now criteria can be identified. How many criteria? Maybe you can identify 30, 40 criteria. You can identify 5 criteria. So finitely many. It can be 5, it can be 30. So that's the thing. And next is alternatives. Alternatives can be finitely many. Okay, it may be 30, 40 alternatives are there. From there you have to choose. Now, challenges. First challenge, I already told you. First challenge, how to identify the expert. So, which people will approach for the data or for the opinion. Okay, that you have to select according to your expert knowledge. Next, assigning different weights. So, how much weight will give to different kind of group people or different kind of people. So, this is the second. Then, next challenge, opinion gives the expert as a imprecise in nature. That means it is not a concrete data. They will give this opinion that, okay, 80% agree that this is good, 20% agree not good, okay, or 20% some doubtful, okay, and strongly against this thing some criteria. So obviously imprecise data will complicate. We forcefully convert to the fixed data and we run the model. That's why. Okay, I will discuss this issue because I already listened this past session. Basically, in real life, maximum model is going to be failed because okay, we are implementing lots of advanced tool without knowing the basic. Okay, and unnecessarily we are making it complicated. That's why this model is going to be failed. I will share my experience also from my industry also. Okay. So these are the some popular methods of MCDTM. Okay, but I will discuss Haji multi-criteria decision making method. These are the available in literature. So if you are interested, after this lecture, if you are interested, you can go through this thing, but it's not limited now. Okay, because each and every method, if I want to discuss, it will take also one lecture. So I will discuss this Haji multi-criteria decision making. Next is Haji set. Okay, everyone is habituated in manual. So you can talk in manual. Haji set the concept is zero. So what is the concept of Haji set? Have you any kind of idea, or should I discuss in our
between 0 and 1?
Exactly. So you are correct. But I am just
not defined. Not accurate, not defined.
So structure at the real life example. Suppose I am at a student level 2. Okay, say we are justifying 2 marks. তাহলে আমরা বললাম 80 পেলে তাহলে কি 79 পেলে সে কি উঠ না, ঠিক আছে? So basically we identify a point. The 80 is a best point for to hit the goodness. 85 বললে তাকে এক্সেলেন্ট বলবো না, গুডনেস এর কোয়ালিটি কমে তাকে এক্সেলেন্টের দিকে ঠেলবো। Okay, so obviously so it will fit a membership function will assign within a range. So we are identifying a range that from 70 to 90 is the range for goodness, but maximum fitness is around 80. So it is a simplified membership function which we can describe. It's a triangular membership function. 70 means obviously membership belongingness in the goodness is 0. Gradually it is increasing. So if I don't take any kind of complicated model, basically it will be a simply let this is the 70 range, let this is the 90 range, let this is the 80. So before 70 we will not consider as a good, maybe other fair, etc. So its membership function we are assuming 0. So how we define that up to you? You have to build up your own function. So very simplified function. This is a triangular fuzzy function. So এবারে তাহলে এখানে 80 কাছে গেলে একদম মেম্বারশিপ ফাংশন 1 যত এবারে হচ্ছে 80 থেকে বেশি হবে গুডনেস এর মধ্যে আছে সেটা কিন্তু এক্সাইটমেন্টের দিকে কিছুটা মেম্বারশিপ তারা দিতে হবে। সো মেম্বারশিপটা কম। ইজ ইট ক্লিয়ার? There are other kinds of this. এরকম ভাবে না গিয়ে we can introduce a trapezoidal হচ্ছে trapezoidal kind of fuzzy function। কারণ এই রেঞ্জের মধ্যে লেট আমি 75 থেকে 85 টাকা আমি 80 কে না 75 থেকে 80 টাকা পুরোটাকে মেম্বারশিপ 1 দিচ্ছি। ক্লিয়ার? 70 তাহলে 70 থেকে 75 এর মতো হচ্ছে লিনিয়ার মিডল আস্তে আস্তে ইনক্রিজ করবে 75 থেকে 85 that will be a constant goodness function as a one membership function 1 then again it is decreasing. So this is the concept of triangle, okay, trapezoidal. Why the name trapezoidal? Because the shape is trapezoidal. Okay. There are another bell curve, which is normal kind of curve, which we can define lots of other things. We can define pentagonal, hexagonal, not only symmetric. It may be asymmetric kind of function we can introduce. And what is the difference? You see, you will define a new kind of function, you will incorporate lots of other kind of thing, operation, etc. You will conclude something. That's in research. Nothing else. Research বলতেই আমরা যেখানে খুঁজে বেড়াই ওখানে খুঁজে বেড়াই এখান থেকে কপি করি নাও we just implement that's a simple kind of improvement. We will do some work, we will produce a result. That's such a beautiful result and everyone will accept. Okay, no need to আমরা research বানিয়ে দিয়ে রিয়া করতে হবে আস what are the real challenges I will try to address this. Okay, so this is the simple concept, but still this was introduced in 1965. It was introduced by Java. Okay, but improvement has come, lots of new idea has come. Okay, so in this case only we introduce one kind of function, that is belongingness function, only one membership function, that is truthness function. Okay, it may happen. So Neutrosophic he is still alive. Okay, I think his age is more than 90 or 96. Fortunately, he was the evaluator of 2 of my thesis. So Neutrosophic in 1996 introduced a new concept, that is the extension of this fuzzy set. So what is that thing? This is called intuitionistic fuzzy. What is that? Instead of one membership function, we are introducing 2 membership functions. So basically, this is a set where 2 membership function is involved. One is μx, another is dx. μx is nothing but truthness, dx is nothing but falseness. So So what is this concept? Suppose we are giving a view, okay, let 80% agree with the goodness, or whether the student is good, 80% agree, 20% falseness is there. Okay, so this falsity membership function will be treated as a point, and obviously the goodness such a that will be treated as a point. But one condition, sum of this goodness and falseness should be 1. So on restriction, that means mu x plus dx should be 1, or exactly is equal to 1.
Probabilistic model.
Sorry?
It is probabilistic model.
না আসছি আমি সব ডিসকাস করার পর আমি এখানে স্লাইডটা বন্ধ করে দেবো আই প্রিফার টু টক আদার দ্যান দিস স্লাইড
তাহলে
ওকে
এখানে আমরা বলি 50%
আসছি একদম আপনি যেটা বলেছেন কারেক্টলি আমি বিট করব ইটস নট not 50%. We are assigning a membership function. Okay, probabilistic, and you see the basic difference probabilistic will only 0.8 in a particular point belongingness or not, but here it is increasing as a function. So probability is giving a particular value, not in the range, but within the range which we are assigning a membership. That I will discuss later. Okay, and what is the basic difference? I will discuss. So this is the advancement. So this is called intuitionistic fuzziness. Okay, but this was introduced in 1986 by Neutrosophic. Recently, in 2010, the concept of Neutrosophic state was introduced, and it was introduced by Marandis. Actually, this spelling is Marandis, but actually we pronounce it as a Marandis. He is a professor in Mexican University, still alive, and fortunate enough, he has evaluated the thesis of my student. His student thesis has been evaluated, and I have a good contact with him also. So he introduced this concept instead of this thing. So he introduced the 3 components. So what are the 3 components? One is truthfulness, another is falseness, another is indeterminacy. Okay, what is this? This view. Suppose you are giving your view. Suppose you are taking an interview of a voter. You know, sure shot that 80% you will vote for this thing. Okay, 20% damn against for this candidate. So that is that falseness. And indeterminacy, maybe it is not decided. Not decided. So he added this 3rd component in this numbers. So this is the 3rd component. So falsity, truthfulness, and indeterminacy. And another kind of thing, he gives the kind of flexibility. The sum of this thing should not be 1, should be from 0 to 3. That means each membership can be from 0 to 1. But practically, it will never touch to 3. Maybe it can exceed 1. That's the flexibility introduced. And not only, whenever you introduce the new concept, so you have to develop the algebra, whether that kind of other mathematical concept, which is whether that is matching or not, otherwise nobody will accept. So that introduction, obviously that kind of basic calculation etc. was developed, and it was developed in 2010. Okay. Now you see, so definition of single valued Neutrosophic number is basically these 3 components are there. One is mu, another is let I, and another is sigma. Mu is nothing but mathematically you are adding in through symbol etc. Forget about this thing. If you are worried about mathematics, forget about this thing. Basically 3 components is there. One is truth membership, another is falsity, another is indeterminacy. Okay, and some kind of formal definition to, you see I already discussed it from 0 to 3, this thing. Again, we introduce say triangular, pentagonal, trapezoidal, maybe hexagonal. Initially, but you see, simplest form is triangular. Trapezoidal, maybe we can take it, but whenever it is introduced in HS, but obviously complexity will arise and loss of calculation will come. So is this concept clear? So basically, till now, whatever the kind of real data can come, or indeterminacy or falsity or uncertainty may come, that can be captured through three. So whatever this big data etc., if we can incorporate instead of this kind of value, okay, obviously this kind of value will be more appropriate. So all the dealing, all the statistical technique, all the AI algorithm, all this thing we have to, if we try to incorporate this thing, we'll get a kind of advantage. We'll get a kind of advantage. So we have to learn how to incorporate in our existing model this kind of data or this kind of feedback mathematical concept, how to incorporate, that's the real challenge. Okay. So forget about it. Actually, okay, let me discuss our research. Okay. So what we did in research, Samaran has developed this thing. Okay, Samaran has developed, okay, obviously triangular is there, trapezoidal was there, pentagonal, actually we developed the pentagonal also, and asymmetric form also defined this thing, and we published some research. That's the activity of research. Now, interestingly, we developed another kind of thing. This is called Pythagorean fuzzy number, and another is spherical fuzzy number. So what is Pythagorean fuzzy number? Nothing else. What is the concept of Pythagorean theorem? हाँ बोलो ट्रायंगुलर कहते हैं बेस स्क्वायर प्लस हाइट स्क्वायर इज इक्वल टू हाइपोटेनस एडवांटेज देख ওটা দেখলে হবে না ওই পাইথাগোরিয়ানটা দেখেছো দেখো আমরা কি করে মডিফাই করেছি রিসার্চ আর নাথিং ওই কনসেপ্টটা পিক আপ করে নিয়েছি নিয়ে আমাকে লাগিয়ে দিই তো হচ্ছে মেম্বারশিপ কনস্ট্যান্ট তার কিছু না এটা তো বাজারে ঘুরে বেড়াচ্ছে শুধু তোমাকে চোখে দেখতে হবে আমাকে ওটাকে মডিফাই করতে হবে কি করলাম কিছু করলাম আমরা দেখলাম এটা হচ্ছে পাইথাগোরিয়ান ডিফাইন করেছে এখানে নিউট্রোসফিক এর ক্ষেত্রে না কেন আমরা বলেছি ইনটিউশনিস্টিক কবে ডেভেলপ হয়েছিল 1986 ঠিক আছে এতদিন পড়েছিল কেউ ডিফাইন করতে পারে উই অবজার্ভ ওয়ান থিং let this is a truthness, this is a indeterminacy, whether it is satisfying the criteria of intuitionistic. No, intuitionistic criteria কি ছিল দুটো sum should be 1. ওকে একটা 0.6 একটা 0.7 যোগ করে কত হয়ে গেল তাহলে এটাকে আমি ইনটিউশনিস্টিক ফাজি নাম্বার বলে ধরতে পারবো না বাট একজনের ওপিনিয়ন তো এইভাবে আসতেই পারে so whether to treat this thing as a fuzzy number, so introduce a concept which is called Pythagorean fuzzy number. কি বললাম ওই দুটোর স্কয়ার less than is equal to 1. if this is square less than is equal to 1 তাহলে এটাকে স্কয়ার করলে কত হচ্ছে 0.6 square is 0.36, 0.7 square is 0.49. ওই দুটোর স্কয়ার less than 1 হয়ে গেল so what is the concept? So basically we extended this thing. শেপটা এরকম ছিল বাড়ি দিল এই এক্সট্রা নাম্বারগুলোকে হচ্ছে এখন হচ্ছে we will treat this thing as a fuzzy number. তার মানে ডেটা সেটটা বেড়ে গেল that means more real kind of uncertainty can হচ্ছে থাকে আর কিছু করবে এটা এবার কি করলাম মেথডোলজির জন্য যে এক্সিস্টিং যে মেথডোলজি আছে সেই মেথডোলজি দিয়ে ক্যালকুলেট করে দিলাম যে দেখো তোমরা ক্যালকুলেট করে এই পেয়েছিলে এই নম্বর দিয়ে extra benefit is this is the research paper. So generally you look for the research paper একটুখানি মাথা খাটালেই রিসার্চ পেপার বেরিয়ে আসে নিজেকে একটু কাটতে হবে আর শুধু কনসেপ্টটাকে ডেভেলপ করতে ঠিক আছে ওই রিসার্চ পেপারের জন্য আমাকে একদম আইনস্টাইন হতে হবে obviously you can do nobody will prevent you but at least for your level কাউকে কোনো হাতানোর দরকার নেই so we develop this thing so this is a Pythagorean fuzzy number and at least 5-6 papers has been developed according to this concept. Then interestingly spherical Fuzzy number পুরো সেম এক্স্যাক্টলি সেম বাট স্ফেরিক্যাল বোঝার জন্য আছে আমার দরকারটি হলো টু ডাইমেনশনাল হবে সো আমরা নিউট্রোসফিক এর ক্ষেত্রে চলে গেলাম থার্ড কম্পোনেন্ট সো স্ফেরিক্যাল এর কনসেপ্টটা কি obviously the sum of square this thing তারপরে এরপর আসবে হচ্ছে obviously that okay that means what is the condition the sum of square that means first membership square plus second membership square plus third membership square less than equal to 1 okay so it is capturing more kind of this thing তারপর আরেকটা এক্সটেনশন করেছি তো আমাদের তো কিছু কাজ করতে হবে ওকে কি এক্সটেনশন করলাম এটা রেডিয়াস ছিল কি 1 আমি রেডিয়াসটাকে √3 করি √3 কেন রেডিয়াসকে √3 করলাম কারণ √3 করে দেখলাম অন্য সমস্ত ক্যালকুলেশন ম্যাচ করবে that's the intuition of the guide যে ওখানে 1 এর জায়গায় √3 করলে হচ্ছে কোনো ক্যালকুলেশন কোনো গন্ডগোল হবে না so we define another kind of fuzzy number generalized spherical fuzzy ওটার কিছু না রেডিয়াসটা বাড়িয়ে দিয়েছি রেডিয়াস বাড়িয়ে দিয়েছে মোর ডেটা সেটটাকে ক্যাপচার করেছে সো নাও ইনকর্পোরেটেড লটস অফ অপারেটর এটসেট্রা ওকে এবারে আমরা ওইখানে আগে কি করব অ্যাকোমোডেশনের সঙ্গে জাস্ট এরিথমেটিক নিলে তো হবে না দ্যাটস দ্য ব্যাকডেটেড এইবারে হচ্ছে তাহলে অপারেটরগুলো কি হবে আচ্ছা এছাড়া তোমরা বলো অ্যাভারেজিং করার কি টেকনিক এটা ওয়েটেড অ্যাভারেজ ঠিক আছে আর কি টেকনিক আছে জিওমেট্রিক্যাল অ্যাভারেজিং জিওমেট্রিক্যাল মিন অ্যাভারেজ মানে তো মিন জিওমেট্রিক্যাল অ্যাভারেজিং কি হয় পাওয়ার ঠিক আছে তাহলে পাওয়ার অ্যাভারেজিং জিওমেট্রিক অ্যাভারেজিং এর পাওয়ার হাফ রাখছি ওকে হাফ রেখে তো জিওমেট্রিক পাওয়ার চালু করা হয় মানে রুট অফ জাস্ট থিং তার মানে পাওয়ার হাফ সো পাওয়ারটাকে যদি আরো সো বেসিক্যালি পাওয়ার অ্যাভারেজিং ওকে সো হোয়াট ইজ অ্যাডভান্টেজ আছে স্পেশালি ইন কেস অফ Neutrosophic data, in case of imprecise data, okay, that okay. At least research paper এর জায়গা পেয়ে গেছে। Real life এ obviously advantage আছে আমি দেখাবো। Okay, sometimes okay this quantum computing etc. হঠাৎ the train আমি চষে হয়ে গেছি। ঠিক আছে? এখন চ্যাটজিপিটি থেকে দেখে নিয়েছি আমার ক্ষমতা তো নেই কারণ আমি কতটা ভাববো। So obviously I try to whatever I visualize I try to produce. So we generalize this thing. এবারে একটু দেখাবে যে এগুলো কি করে তারপরে আমি রিয়েল লাইফে চলে যাই সো ইফ ইউ ফিল বোরিং অ্যাবাউট ম্যাথমেটিক্স ফরগেট অ্যাবাউট দিস এখানে আমরা যে ক্যালকুলেট করা দেখাচ্ছে যেগুলো ডেভেলপ করেছি ফর এক্সাম্পল উই ইন্ট্রোডিউস এ নিউট্রোসফিক নাম্বার তার কমপ্লিমেন্ট what will be the complement of that okay so how to compare these two numbers which one is greater which one is less দুটো ফিক্স নাম্বার থাকলে একটা 5 একটা 7 আমরা বলে দিতে হবে বাট দুটো হচ্ছে ইন্টারস্টেটিস্টিক নাম্বার আছে তার তিনটে কম্পোনেন্ট আছে হাউ উইল কম্পেয়ার সো কম্পেয়ারিং টেকনিক কি করে বেশি লেট z1 and z2 ট্রুথনেসটা হচ্ছে যা বেশি বাকি বড় এখানে z2 টাকে কমন করব কিন্তু হচ্ছে ট্রুথনেসটা কম্পোনেন্টটা বড় ফলসনেসটা ছোট হতে হবে তাহলে এরকম ডিক্লেয়ার যদি হয় তাহলে বড় হবে এবার যদি এটা না হয় এই ক্রাইটেরিয়াটা তো ম্যাচ নাও করতে হবে দেন কাইন্ড অফ at least আমরা ডিফাইন করেছি যে লেস দেন গ্রেটার দেন কি করে কম্পেয়ার করব ইন কেস অফ নিউট্রোসফিক সো দিস আর দ্য বেসিক আইডিয়া কারণ কোন জিনিস আমি ইন্ট্রোডিউস করছি উই হ্যাভ টু ডেভেলপ অল দিস কাইন্ড অফ থিং ওকে সো দিস ইজ দ্য ডাইরেক্ট সাম ডাইরেক্ট প্রোডাক্ট ওকে দিস ইজ ওকে সো পাওয়ার ইজ আমরা ন্যাচারালি ইট ইজ নাম্বার 5 থাকে 5 স্কয়ার okay 5 to the power 7.32 করি না করি একটা রিয়েল নাম্বার তার তুমি বললো স্কয়ার করতে পারো কিউব করতে পারো টু দি পাওয়ার 4 করতে পারো আমি বলছি লেট টু দি পাওয়ার এ রিয়েল নাম্বার ফ্র্যাকশন নাম্বার করো লেট 5 to the power √3 কি করে ক্যালকুলেট করব that's a concept ওই কনসেপ্টের যদি ক্লিয়ার না থাকে হাউ লেট মেক দিস অ্যাডভান্সমেন্ট 5 to the power √3 আমি 5 স্কয়ারের ভ্যালু জানি কত 5 স্কয়ার ইজ 25 5 কিউব জানি আমি যদি 5 টু দি পাওয়ার রুট 3 or কেন রুট 3 বলছি any real number how will calculate তার জন্য
পাওয়ার রুট 3 পাওয়ার হাফ রুট 3 এর আগে আমরা 3 পাওয়ার হাফ করব 5 পাওয়ার 3 পাওয়ার হাফ
আচ্ছা রুট 3 না বলে আমি একদম কমপ্লিকেটেড একটা দিব সে 5 টু দি পাওয়ার রুট 3 প্লাস 7 প্লাস হচ্ছে 0.5 কমপ্লিকেটেড okay let 99.339995 it's a real number or not yes how to calculate that's the motivation to introduce the law okay that's the motivation to introduce the law how to calculate because naturally you can calculate this thing যখনই হচ্ছে এরকম abnormal power সেজন্য তো লটাকে ইন্ট্রোডিউস করেছে okay we have to define what is the motivation to introduce this law not to so to take up that kind of this thing so this is the exponential component and log is nothing but reverse of this thing that's why we introduce this log and just introducing this log using this log table we can calculate the value clear that's the motivation so similarly okay so now we define some kind of operator to aggregate some data obviously data Neutrosophic in nature and several that kind of data is there so one kind of aggregation operator is this thing okay this is weighted averaging aggregation operator but forget about this thing this is basically weighted averaging power aggregation method in the actual Neutrosophic number some power is there and we are taking the product so and since there are 3 components so we have to define in such a way so that it satisfies lots of property that's the subject matter of business you have to introduce a new operator so we introduce this thing now so this aggregation now we are just implementing this idea to a real life problem okay now you see finally you have to rank so you see like there are teams of 5 or 10 people you are giving your input সবটা আমার কাছে এসেছে আমি অ্যাকুমুলেট করলাম করে কি পেলাম ডেটাটা বিকজ ডেটাটা তুমি নিউট্রোসফিক হিসেবে দিচ্ছ যেই যা দিচ্ছে আপনিও নিউট্রোসফিক হিসেবে দিলেন তাহলে আমি ক্যালকুলেট করলে তো আমি নিউট্রোসফিক ডেটা পাবো এখন নিউট্রোসফিকে হচ্ছে হাউ টু কম্পেয়ার এইটা ভালো না ওটা ভালো ওকে ডেটা হচ্ছে সো সিম্পলিফাইড করার জন্য আমি introduce the score function okay so what is the score function you can introduce the score function in many ways okay how to introduce you simply introduce a score function for a Neutrosophic data z and what is this is 3 into this truthness component t is the truthness component theta is the falseness and sigma is the indeterminates clear so we introduce in this way and by these 3 etc you see it is kind of weighted average otherwise if you don't give 3 it will be some kind of biasness will come so statistical that concept of biased and unbiased that kind of will come that's why we are just in this way okay so and you can introduce it in your own way how to rank this thing so we just adapt some kind of ranking value and in this kind of adaptation we are giving the more weightage for the truthness component and minus 2 eta that means falseness we penalized twice but indeterminacy we did not penalize why natural thing indeterminacy means not complete kind of decision so we'll penalize that's why minus is there but not so much but truthness is this is surely false so we have given sorry falseness is the surely false so you have given a check penalized minus 2 so you can define in this way so that's the kind of actually you have to add so
excuse me I missed that point I missed that point see you are not
আচ্ছা এটা কিছু না এটা হচ্ছে আমি একটা স্কোর আমার 3টে কম্পোনেন্ট একটা টিটা হচ্ছে টুথনেস কম্পোনেন্ট তার উপরে আমি 3টা দিয়েছি তার মানে আমি বেশি গুরুত্ব দিলাম ঠিক আছে এখানে মাইনাস করেছি পেনালাইজ করেছি এটা কি ফলসনেস কম্পোনেন্ট ফলসনেসকে করেছে আর এটা ইনরিটার্ন হয়েছে পেনালাইজ করেছে কিন্তু অত বেশি ক্লিয়ার এটাকে অন্যভাবে এবার অ্যাকর্ডিং টু ইওর এক্সপেরিয়েন্স অ্যাকর্ডিং টু নেচার অফ প্রবলেম ইউ উইল ডিফাইন ইওর ওন স্কোর ফাংশন না বাইনারি দিয়ে হবে না ওটা আমি পরে বলে দিচ্ছি ভালো করে ওকে এটা হচ্ছে আপনি যেটা ধরেছেন কারেক্ট এবার স্কোর দিয়ে যদি একটা স্কোর দুটোতে সেম হয়ে যায় সো উই আর ইন্ট্রোডিউসিং অ্যানাদার কাইন্ড অফ ফাংশন দিস ইজ কল্ড accuracy in case some कुछ values accommodated टाई हो जाए टाई ब्रेक করার জন্য accuracy ফাংশন ডিফাইন সো নাও এইবার হচ্ছে আমরা কি করলাম তাহলে কিভাবে ডিভিশন নিলাম ডিভিশন হচ্ছে এই যে অ্যাকচুয়ালি হচ্ছে আমরা কি করেছি এক্সপোনেনশিয়াল a is a real number g is a that kind of data Neutrosophic number a to the power c ডিফাইন করেছি ওকে কারণ আমি অবভিয়াসলি পাওয়ার অপারেটর হচ্ছে জিটা যাবে তো হচ্ছে এক্সপোনেনশিয়াল এবার হচ্ছে অ্যাপ্লিকেশন এ কিভাবে ডিফাইন করেছি ফরগেট অ্যাবাউট দিস দ্যাট ইজ ম্যাথমেটিক্যাল ইস্যু সো তাহলে কিভাবে প্রবলেমটা ইমপ্লিমেন্ট করলাম ফার্স্ট হচ্ছে ডিভিশন ম্যাট্রিক্স তৈরি করলাম প্রত্যেকটা হচ্ছে যে ডেটাটা দেবে উই আর টেকিং ইন দ্য ফর্ম অফ ম্যাট্রিক্স ওয়েটটাকে ফিক্স করলাম রাইট হচ্ছে তারপর অবভিয়াসলি হচ্ছে priority দিলাম then ranking করলাম that is the division so basically we take this kind of data operate on this thing so this is a data bar of the first input value okay we took only 4 decision makers 4 data we are doing this thing now to that operator we are converting this thing to a Neutrosophic number now 4 Neutrosophic number according to this aggregation law we are converting to a single matrix then we are making the score function and this is the score value so which score value is highest the first one score value is highest that means d1 d1 means actually this is the disease model 3 diseases we have identified and 3 expert we choose okay 3 diseases are I think it's a long back paper. 3 diseases we have identified, and the expert was given the view of a senior level doctor, junior level doctor, and very specialized doctor. So that according to this view, okay, so according to this symptom, whether it will be categorized this disease or that disease or this disease. So according to this thing, D1 is the according to this thing, D1 will be identified. That means this disease will be identified as D1. If it is not D1, then we have to check for D2. So obviously, if we, so what is the implication? At least to check initial selection procedure, if I imply this kind of data, obviously we will not go for all kind of tests. Generally, all the doctors A to Z test are there. যখনই identify হয়ে যাবে according to the symptom, this is the most optimal case of this thing. তাহলে according to this thing তার diagnosis করে যদি দেখা যাচ্ছে সেখানে ফেলিওর হয়ে যাচ্ছে দেন সেকেন্ড যেটা যেটা এসে তার according to the diagnosis করতে হবে so this is the advantage of this thing now sensitivity analysis everybody knows basically if I slightly change the weight whether our decision will change if it is changed that means our model is highly sensitive so it will not sustain it's not reliable so any kind of model which if you give at least from data point of view sensitive analysis is must sensitive analysis is nothing but you are just giving a perturbation to your either input value generally most perturbation is resulting in terms of weight if you just give the change the value of the weight slightly or within some range. If you observe that drastically the decision is going to change, that means your underlying model is not good enough, sustained enough. So this is this thing, and we already observed that this is a highly stable kind of model. It is not changing the data. So for the research paper, you show this. Okay, I am not showing the research paper. So this is the idea about Neutrosophic set. But now what is that? Okay, but forget about this. So we are getting a little bit idea about more kind of imprecise kind of data. So whenever it's a question of big data, accurate model, if I want to build up, actually now all these advanced layers they are trying to incorporate fuzzy data instead of crisp data, and obviously their result, their prediction, everything is more accurate. So forget about this thing, we will come back to this thing. Now with respect to whether it is a heavy for you, if it is heavy, I will make it light. Okay. Otherwise, we can take a break, I think. Then interesting part, this challenging real life part, which I now will try to discuss. Forget about this mathematics part because this is most of boring, we are not mathematics people. Okay, but one of the real life challenge, I will try to discuss. And especially in neural network model, generally in our research level, we fit the neural network model. And during this fitting, at least as a formal student, I get the kind of feedback because sometimes they are managing some kind of data. They are putting this data, they are making the training, they are getting some kind of result, but it will not a good model will be this thing. You have to make a simplified network. Fully connected network will not work for any data. Okay, that's the real life challenge. Even in financial sector, I face the same kind of thing. A fully connected model will not. So basically, you have to simplify your neural network model. How to simplify it? That means you have to off some kind of connection. Kon connection take tule dite hobe, blindly to ami dite parbo na. So we have to take the feedback from our statistical models. ওই ডেটাগুলোর মধ্যে হাইলি কোরিলেশন আছে। তো এতগুলো যদি দিয়ে কেন রাস্তা ভারী করব, পুরো নেটওয়ার্কটাকে ভারী করব, তাহলে সিম্পলি করলে হচ্ছে obviously it will give a more effective kind of result. So from a statistical analysis, initial filter, and that input should be given in the network, then this network will work fine. Even in business level problem, even in your industry problems. And not only this thing, based on this Neutrosophic data, if you can build a neural network model, so what are the kinds of modification is needed? Because all this data are not certain. So how will incorporate the uncertainty in this AI model or neural network model so that your prediction will be more accurate? That's the kind of challenge I want to invite. So shall I give it a 5 minutes break? Any kind of data modeling, underlying concept is statistical tools and techniques. So in given lots of data, if you are not clear about underlying tools and technique, if you apply through any software, obviously your result will be. So very important. You see, whatever this previous আগের দিনের স্পিকারটা বলছিলেন ওই সেক্টরের ডেটার মধ্যে কি কি চ্যালেঞ্জ আছে এটসেট্রা সমস্ত কিছুগুলো হবে obviously other sector again lots of other challenges there. Okay, and statistical technique has been changed because the data type, especially after the introduction of internet kind of facility, the basic character of data has drastically changed. Okay, service sector there lots of data, lots of other challenges. Okay, financial sector lots of other challenges. So ফার্স্ট বাট অ্যাজ এ স্টুডেন্ট এবার হচ্ছে আমরা হচ্ছে জেনারেলি হচ্ছে স্টুডেন্টদেরকে ট্রেন করি, তো আমরা স্টুডেন্ট পয়েন্ট অফ ভিউ থেকে এখন এই স্টুডেন্টগুলোকে হচ্ছে বেসিক আমাকে টুলস অ্যান্ড টেকনিক অ্যান্ড আন্ডারলাইন কনসেপ্টগুলো ওদের মাথায় দিতে দিলে ওরা কি করবে, যে সেক্টরে যাবে তার স্পেসিফিক যে চ্যালেঞ্জগুলো আরো অ্যাডভান্সমেন্ট পিক আপ করে নিতে হবে। আন্ডারলাইন এরা যে বলবে ইন্টার্নশিপে যাবে, ইন্টার্নশিপে গিয়ে তার হচ্ছে ডেটা পেলো কি করবে, খাবে না মাথায় মধ্যে। সো আপনি নিড এ clear concept about underlying tools. So আমাদের স্টুডেন্ট পয়েন্ট অফ ভিউ থেকে যেটা হবে আর কি সেটা এই টুলস গুলোর ক্লিয়ার কনসেপ্ট। আমি একদম মানে স্ট্যাটিস্টিক্যালের আমি ধরে নিচ্ছি যে স্ট্যাটিস্টিক্যালের বেসিক কয়েকটা জিনিস দেখাবো এবং সেটা হচ্ছে উইথ রেসপেক্ট টু নিউট্রোসফিক ডেটা হোয়াট আর দ্য চ্যালেঞ্জ উইথ রেসপেক্ট টু দিস থিং। সো একদম সিম্পল। সো মেইন গোল of data analysis is just categorizing input. One is prediction, another is judgment or prediction. So you have to predict. Basically, you have to what will be the cost of this thing, what will be the pricing model. Basically, whether we will go for this course or we will go for that course. Generally, our student even don't know why we are choosing this BTech. Maybe some emotional sentiment. Okay. Unstructured kind of sentiment. If he applies his own knowledge, how he will go for this course? So what are my targets? What are the inputs? Whether I will be successful or not? What will be my predicted salary? Or not only this thing after 10 years, what will be my predicted salary? What will be my career growth? If everything is clear, then decision will be clear. So the student basically you see, so what are the main? Okay. So we will just take a simple. So what is the underlying techniques for? So you know, we need a data. Okay, so what is the basic concept of data? Suppose, and knowingly or unknowingly, we are generally use the statistics. I'll just give a simple example. If I say, what is the today's temperature? You give some prediction. So what's your predicted value?
Today's temperature?
No, today's temperature.
34 degrees.
30. So what's your prediction?
30.
Okay. Somebody will say 31, 32. Just looking this data, I can say, knowing, okay, suppose this data is coming from a student. So we can say students knows the statistics very well. Why? Because nobody has predicted 200 degrees or minus 30. Why? Because in her unconscious mind he is using a statistical technique, because from his experience he gathered a data. Okay, since it is a summer time he is predicting around 30, if it is winter time he will predict around 50. Okay, so from from an experience from the gather. Now if you ask such a 10 years student or 5 years such a child, he will say, sir, I will take 80 degree. He will say, yes, take 80. Because his database is not correct, not accurate, not experienced. So from the experience we are getting it. Now you see, this is an unstructured kind of. That's the simplest example of unstructured. We are relying on unstructured data. Now if some structured data is given, suppose I have given the data of last 50 years. Okay. Now if I say, what will be your prediction? Suppose I have given 50 data, that this data is x1, x2, x3. So what will be your prediction?
Average of that.
One prediction is average. What will be your prediction?
Another was being median.
Thanks.
So this fast statistical technique concept is nothing but I can use lots of technique. I'm বললাম এখন ডেটাটাকে শর্ট করলাম যে এক জায়গায় হাত দিয়ে দিই, দ্যাটস মাই প্রেডিকশন। এখন এই প্রেডিকশনটাও কিন্তু কারেক্ট হতে হবে। আপনি যেটা বললেন অ্যাভারেজ স্কোয়ার থেকে হচ্ছে অ্যাকচুয়াল মিলালে হয়তো আমার এটা মিলে যাবে। Then we have to prove whatever the technique we introduce whether it's scientific or not. তাহলে ডেটাকে শর্ট করে হাফ দিলে হচ্ছে obviously this is not scientific. Okay? So next question arises whether it's scientific technique or not. Obviously, now we can take average, we can take mean, we median, mode, mean is the average. Okay. Now next question arises.
Sir, as you said, if I just point out randomly, and if the correction, if the particular point is accurate, that means there is less scatteredness, there is the standard deviation.
No. Suppose that is another issue. Suppose that I make a scale, a big scale. I am just giving this. Obviously, this is the thing.
Okay. So is there any?
You can have by chance. Actually,
Okay.
This is no. This technique is a just like a your luck.
Luck. Okay.
Okay. এবং লাখটা মেলার চান্স কত সেটা আমি দেখাচ্ছি probability theory is zero because in the scale any point can be this how many points are there infinitely many একটা পয়েন্টে টাচ করাচ্ছে zero so this is not scientific okay. so next technique someone says mean someone is median এবার তাহলে মিনটা কি ভালো না মিডিয়ান next question
Yes.
whether mean is good or median is good or mode is good.
In case of if I know the range and parameters, then mean is good on the basis of
that totally depends. I will explain this. That totally depends the character on that. Character. I mean, equally বললাম suppose, okay, আমি ইনফোসিসে জয়েন করতে যাচ্ছি সিনিয়র লেভেল বা মিডিল লেভেল ম্যানেজার। জেনারেলি ইন্টারভিউ এর পরে আমি কোনো একটা কোশ্চেন করে কি, okay, technically I am satisfied and that's the real problem. আমরা প্রবলেম বোঝার জন্য actually in the cases I built up this model and this is a part also what will be your salary, okay, especially in middle level management. So basically say technically student level আমরাও জানি কি ইন্টারভিউ ভালো দিয়েছি, okay, say hypothetical this scenario 5 years বা 10 years experience ছিল, তার কারেন্ট সিরিজ ছিল হচ্ছে 20,000, okay, সে জেনারেলি হ্যাপি থাকে কত 25%, so okay, student level 25% increase হচ্ছে ঠিক আছে 25 লাখ, কিন্তু অ্যাকচুয়ালি হয়তো সেই কোম্পানি বাজেট নিয়ে এসেছিল 35 লাখ, ঠিক আছে, সেই যদি বাজেটটা আমি ক্র্যাক করতে পারি, ওকে, এইচআর পিপল বাজেটটা নিয়ে আসে, ওখানে অফিস থেকে ক্যালকুলেট করে এইচআর পিপল বাজেটটা নিয়ে চলে আসে, এবং তার ক্যালকুলেশনটা কিন্তু বলছে এইচআর পিপল জানে না, স্ট্যাটিস্টিশিয়ান নেই, ওখানে মডেল আছে সফটওয়্যার থেকে বেরিয়েছে। তাহলে কেউ হচ্ছে 35 লাখ কিন্তু বাজেট ছিল, তাকে সে যদি 25 বলে তাকে রিক্রুট করে নিয়ে চলে যাবে, দিয়ে অফিসে গিয়ে বলবে একদম লিটারালি এটা বলে আপনারা করে পোল্ট্রি মুরগি ধরে নিস, দ্যাট মিন্স টেকনিক্যালি সাউন্ড স্বাস্থ্যবান, ওকে, অথচ কম পয়সা বার্গেনিং করেছে। তাহলে হচ্ছে হোয়াটস মাই চ্যালেঞ্জ, অন্য কোনো অ্যাডভান্স টেকনিক দরকার নেই, ডেটা অ্যানালিটিক মডেলিংয়ে সিম্পল টেকনিক দিয়ে হচ্ছে আই আর্ন ক্রোর্স অফ রুপিস, ওকে, নো নিড টু, সেটাই হচ্ছে ম্যানেজারের কথা ছিল যে সিম্পলিফাইড মডেল ইজ দ্য গুড মডেল, এত যা করি সমস্ত হচ্ছে ফেলিওর হয়ে যাবে, ওকে। সো ফার্স্ট অফ অল আপনি বললেন হচ্ছে এখানে হচ্ছে বলবেন মি, আচ্ছা আমি বলি হচ্ছে সর্টিং করি হোয়াট উইল বি, জেনারেলি হচ্ছে আমরা ইমোশনালি বলি, অ্যাকচুয়ালি ইমোশনালি বলার দরকার নেই, হোয়াট ইজ দ্য গুড স্ট্র্যাটেজি উই শুড অ্যাডাপ্ট, বলবো হচ্ছে হাউ ইউ অফার ইউর এমপ্লয়ি, তুমি তো রুল ব্রেক করে আমাকে দেবে না, সো ইন ইউর মিডল লেভেল ম্যানেজার ইউ শেয়ার the salary profile of your, you share the database, then next day I will calculate, I will say what is my demand, তাহলে হচ্ছে database শেয়ার করে দিলে 500 জন এই লেভেলে আছে, এবং 500 জনের মধ্যে সেই ইনফোসিসের সিনিয়র ম্যানেজার নারায়ণ কে আছে, সিইও লেভেলের লোকজন আছে, তাদের স্যালারি থাকে ক্রোর, 500 crore 200 crore, আর বাকিগুলো লাখ, তাহলে তাকে যদি অ্যাভারেজ করে কি হয়ে যাবে, crore চলে যাবে, ইজি, ওকে, 10 crore হয়ে যাবে, is it your expected salary?
no.
So obviously mean is a false measure. So according to that data, that's a false measure. So here what will be the optimal measure?
Median.
Median. Since you are fitting in which median? Median is okay. Okay. So that depends on the character of the data. That depends. This is the simplest to check kind of technique you have to throw in the mind of our student. Next. This is not this thing. Actually, this data is not so simple. Okay, some distributional data you get. Okay, let this data is, okay, so use data is there. Let some kind of So simplest distribution we assume maybe load normal. So for the discussion we are assuming let this is the data follows normal distribution. Okay. So data follows normal distribution. This is the normal distribution with let this is the salary data you got from that company. It is and normally it will follow normal distribution. If some kind of abnormality is not there within this structure, it will follow the normal distribution. And they assured it that will fit in your middle level. Then its mean is equal to, okay, I am assuming a hypothetical figure 50 lakh with a standard deviation lakh 5. With a standard deviation 5. So, are you habituated with Six Sigma concept?
Yes.
Can you explain please? Don't take it as a lecture. We are just sharing experience and I will be happy if you call it by my name. So what is the Six Sigma concept?
বাইরে থাকে নাকি মোটামুটি সবাই
Okay, actually Six Sigma concept আমি পরে দেখাচ্ছি Six Sigma video দেখে নেবেন. Basically this concept is coming from this statistical technique. But unfortunately these management people they are not recognizing this thing. They are utilizing in another. Okay? Because ওদের হচ্ছে মানুষ গেলে দেওয়া যাবে কারণ basically whatever the decision is taking based on this statistical technique. So what is this concept? This normal distribution has a beautiful property. This is called area. So what is that? And how we can utilize even in the student level? Suppose you appear in the GATE exam. Students, suppose you appear in the GATE exam. Okay, তুমি তো আনসার করে দিল। কত আনসার করলে 100 এর মধ্যে সে 82 করে চলে আসলো। বুক ফুলিয়ে তুমি তোমার র‍্যাঙ্ক করছে নিজে ক্যালকুলেট করে নিতে হবে। তার জন্য ওয়েট করতে হবে। So how to do this calculation? If your fundamental is clear, suppose generally হচ্ছে this GATE board declare করে দিল the score follows normal distribution with mean 50 and a standard deviation 5. So what is 1 sigma level? 1 sigma level means within 1 sigma, that means mean is equal to 50 and sigma is equal to 5. So what is 1 sigma level? 1 sigma level means from mean you move to right hand side plus sigma, left hand side this thing. So 1 sigma level means mean plus minus 1 into sigma. Here mean is equal to 50 plus minus 5. So that's the interval 45 to 55. So this is 1 sigma level and within this level how much area will be covered? The area will be covered is that's it. This is true, always true. 68.67%. This is irrespective of the mean and sigma. Whatever the mean, this is 1 sigma level. Now what is 2 sigma level? 2 sigma level is nothing but from mean you just move 2 sigma distance both sides. Here the 2 sigma level will be from 40 to 60. Similarly, what is 3 sigma level? We can measure. And here it will be 35 to 65. Okay. In 2 sigma level, how much area it will be covered? Any idea? It will be covered 95.46%. And 3 sigma level, how much area it will be covered? It will cover 99.70%. Now you see normal distribution is never ending. वो तो कोनों दिन टास्क करता होगा. Never ending. Never ending होने तो चलो obviously. So now what is 4 sigma level? आरो बेसी. It is closer to 100 but not 100. Okay. So what is 5 sigma level? More than that, it will cover 99.999. What is 6 sigma level? It is 99.999. এটাকে রিপ্রেজেন্ট করা সবাই তো স্ট্যাটিস্টিশিয়ান না সবাই ম্যাথমেটিশিয়ান না so we have to present it beautifully let area under this curve is nested upon we are treating this thing 1 million that means 10 to the power 6 So in Six Sigma level, how much area will be covered? Better to say what will not cover. It will not cover only 3.4. So that means within 1 million, only 3.4 will be not covered. This is the concept. Now in management, how we are using? So Six Sigma level means a huge level. Okay, maximum will be covered. Now you see in management how we are utilizing, suppose one service company, advertisement let's say, or we are making this fan. Okay, অনেকে বোঝাচ্ছে সেলস এটা ভালো ওটা ভালো এটা খারাপ, তার থেকে বললে তো সিক্স সিগমা লেভেল সেটে দিই। Okay, this is my quality is 6 sigma level. That means defective level of this fan is satisfying within 1 million. Defective is less than 3.4. That's the Six Sigma level. So any kind of procedure, if the defect can satisfy this thing, then it will be achieved this Six Sigma level. Even a student can claim, I am a Six Sigma student. You can transfer that kind of concept. Why will give the upper hand to manager? You can actually say, I attempt 1 million problem, number of answered problem is less than 3.4. Then you can say that I am a Six Sigma student. Whether you will recruit me or that's up to you. Okay, so you can adopt this concept. That's basically a statistical concept and it is coming from here. Now you see how we take this prediction. We just come to this our salary now. So suppose your salary is 50 lakh with this kind of this thing. Now you see if you demand for 50. Now, so what is 3 sigma level here? No, need not to real life, need not to go beyond 3 sigma. What is 3 sigma level here? 35. So 35 lakh they are happy to say guaranteed job. Job ta na paওয়ার কোনো চান্স নেই, যেটুকু চান্স আছে very less. So your current pay package was like 20. তুমি কত স্যাটিসফাইড হচ্ছিল 25 এ, বেসিক্যালি 35 হচ্ছে রেডি টু পে গিভ। এবার 35 হচ্ছে আমি তখন বললাম না আমি জানি যে আমার মতো টেকনিক্যাল লোক হচ্ছে বাজারে নেই। ওকে, আমি যদি জবটা না দিই এরকম আবার ওকে ইন্টারভিউ করাতে হবে, যার কস্টিং ইজ ইনভলভ। সো আই উইল গো ফর হায়ার স্যালারি, আই উইল গো ফর হায়ার স্যালারি। ওকে, 50 জায়গায় 55 obviously এখানে যদি 65 আপ করে দেন almost chance is not there. So that's up to your choice, up to your position, how you bargaining. So that's up to your choice. So only this kind of simple class levels, the statistical technique can give you the advantage. But unfortunately, we don't do this. We mark up in the class, but in real life we don't do it kind of practice. And whatever this model, decision making model, basically that just little bit advanced of this concept, nothing else. Now you see, so now in TIPS data set, the real challenge is there. So and now other kinds of technique, regression technique is there, etc. So what are the challenge in Neutrosophic kind of set, where the haziness is there, 3 components are there, how we tackle? Basically, now you see, that basically we have to test, okay, little bit, for example, Z test, T test. So what is the basic concept of this Z test? Suppose, let 2 company A and company B, both are producing some kind of product, same kind of product. Okay, let's look into it. Okay, and this is the we get a win performance for this company. So we collect the data. Say suppose the company A is demanding their product is more good, or company B is demanding their product is more good. So you have to testify which one is good or which one is not. So basically you have to make a hypothesis. So what will be the unbiased hypothesis? Obviously you know unbiased, the null hypothesis will be unbiased. That is both are equal to. And if I get strong evidence, then we will correct. So how will you testify? Basically, let the difference z is equal to this is the score x and this is the we are representing this data as the x. This is y. Z is equal to x minus y. So if there is no kind of difference, that means mean level are both the same. So under this thing, this distribution will follow normal distribution with 0, 1 and let we standardize this data. Normal 0, 1. Now what is the testing principle? Suppose you observe the data. So this is theoretically it will follow this thing. Now the data level you observe and you measure this z observed value is. So basically, so it will follow the normal distribution with mean 0 and step sigma 1. Now when we will reject the test, basically. So if z observed exceeds the 3 sigma level, okay, 3 sigma, okay, generally test is 5% level means 2 sigma 1.96, actually 95% area. Okay, so we know this kind of principle. And more accurately, we produce the p-value. And p-value is the, actually suppose z observed is here. If z observed is here, what does it mean? There is no significantly different. We cannot say the difference is there, but if it is here, obviously highly significantly difference is there. So this is the kind of technique and you take the kind of decision. But this kind of decision is very easy if this data is a test. So question arises, if this kind of ambiguity is there and where each data set has 3 components, truthness, indeterminacy, falseness, how it tackles this? How you perform t-test, z-test in case of Neutrosophic. So we have to take the decision. One is just kind of aggregation, some kind of decision. Now this kind of data decision. So that's the challenge. Okay, and obviously, basically, you can actually do this thing. Okay, say some kind of technique has been already introduced, but it is not very foolproof, mathematically rigorous. There are lots of improvement is possible. Okay, what we are doing actually in case of Neutrosophic data, let Z is a Neutrosophic data, this is the truthness component, this is the falseness, and this is the I is a indeterminacy component. So we can actually do one thing in this level, we can perform Z test or T test according to the character of data. In this level, we can perform the same kind of T test or Z test according to this thing. But question, how do we define this? Okay, so interaction move rigorously. So lots of researchers do this thing. So if you want to do the research, do this thing. And for student level, you just throw this kind of concept. Well, they will make the advancement, and which I believe they will make the more advanced kind of technique, methodology, concept, and maybe they will do fantastic kind of job. So our just motivation, this is the kind of improvement is happening. You just know this thing, all this information is available. If you are interested, which part you are interested, which part in your working area, please go to this thing and do your work. So big data, etc. So this is the main challenge. So you build up a model. A model is nothing but a mathematical representation of your this concept. So this is also one kind of technique already available in this level. Is just we'll calculate the p-value here. We'll calculate the p-value here. Separate p-value. And if I get a clear kind of picture, okay, that means it is giving a clear picture in all levels. Then decision is very easy. But if challenges is there, if some kind of mixed picture, in truth level it is accepted. Okay, false level it is rejected. Okay, so some actually Menendez has introduced one kind of concept. You give a score value. Score value is the p-value of this thing. That truthness feature or score value, not p-value. Score value of this thing. Minus a score value of this p score minus. Since this is a falsity, we have to analyze this thing. So this is a score and minus lambda into I-square. And what will be the value of lambda? Better we suggest to take it in a fractional. That means indeterminacy, since you are not sure, don't penalize. If I put lambda is equal to 1, directly 100% penalization is there. So you just put a value according to your data, your confidence, okay, how you collected the data, what is the expert opinion according to this thing, you put that value of them. But sure shot he recommended, even if you are sure no, in the velocity calculation some kind of problem is there, so we'll reduce, maybe we'll reduce this value which we can introduce a lambda 1. Clear?
So that means, say, in the first two cases, if the p-value is accepted, not strongly accepted. But in the last case,
that's the weakness. Obviously, lots of, I said, no kind of, since this kind of concept only now in 2010, okay, even the algebra has not been totally developed. Obviously, statistical kind of technique, it has been started in 17th century. Okay, so lots of improvement, lots of scope is there. Okay, so whatever we are doing the research, if we can do little bit contribution this thing, so lots of paper will come. If you are interested for paper. Okay, if you are interested for your framework, you just think something about this, some kind of concept, how you can modify it, I don't know. Maybe the student who is thinking some kind of innovative idea will come. Okay, that kind of innovation, and I think the student can give that kind of innovation because we are positive. We have some limited kind of thinking. So you just thought this thing, somebody, someday, some kind of new kind of idea will come, even tackling of three functions together, some kind of combination, etc. will come. Now, next and final part. Okay, I will skip or something because I promised that I will end within 4. So there are lots of scope from classical statistical kind of technique, and okay, I am not showing the research paper because all the research paper was typed. Okay. Next and final challenge. As per my belief and my understanding, depending all this classical statistical kind of technique development in Neutrosophic environment is very much challenging. Rather, it's more easier to implement the data directly in neural. Okay, in neural network, whatever you are giving, some kind of input we are giving, but in deep sense, so no kind of fuzziness is there, but all the real data, I already told 3 kinds of components is naturally will come kind of truthness, indeterminacy and falseness. So now the challenge, how will incorporate this data in the Shall I incorporate in one node all the 3 data? Or in one node shall I tag another 2 nodes to incorporate that data? Next challenge. You see, linear network, no kind of challenge is there. Okay, if your data is there, but actually the challenge is there. You have to simplify that network. Otherwise, if you put any kind of data, it will overloaded and training will be stopped. Okay, obviously in validation, maybe it will give good result, but in real life distribution, it will not give the good kind of result. Okay. So another kind of challenge is there. So what will be the aggregation kind of formula or activation formula? So we will use in this sigmoidal node to aggregate, because all the information you have to aggregate. So this aggregation technique already, since this is there, that's why we are trying to develop some kind of technique. What are the aggregation kind of technique? That's lots of mathematics we are trying to develop. This is the exponential operation, logarithmic kind of operation, and since obviously in aggregation function we have to introduce tan sigmoidal or sigmoidal kind of function. That's why with this kind of base, I introduce in Neutrosophic set what is the cos sigmoidal function. Okay, so cos sigmoidal function for Neutrosophic one in research paper, you already introduced that kind of thing. So that's the kind of challenge. So whoever is working in this area.
আমরা ওই ইনক্লুশনটা কি করে আসছে যে কস দিলে চলে আসবে তাই এটা কি করে
সেটা মাথায় কাজে করে নাকি কাজে করে ছিল এই লাইনটা এই তো ছিল আমি দেখলাম এই লাইনটা ছিল x plus y যদি লেস দ্যান 1 হয় এইটুকু এরিয়া কভার হচ্ছে ঠিক আছে আমি দেখলাম যদি এইটাকে মাপিয়ে এটা করে দিই তাহলে এটা মাপিয়ে দিয়েছে x স্কয়ার প্লাস y স্কয়ার লেস দ্যান ইকুয়াল টু 1 করে দিলে এইটুকু x এর এরিয়া কভার করবে এইটুকু এইটা বলছে কখন আসবে nobody knows ঠিক আছে তবে cos sigmoidal এটা কি করে আসলো আমরা দেখলাম নিউরাল নেটওয়ার্কে ঢুকতে গেলে that's the real challenge for the kind of fuzzy data obviously you have to if you want to incorporate some kind of aggregation is needed because in sigmoidal function you have to use and in the sigmoidal function generally use it tan sigmoidal or sin sigmoidal kind of function that's why obviously exponential calculation logarithmic calculation and cosine sine basic trigonometric signal function calculation is needed that's why for the next step which we try to introduce in Neutrosophic set what will be the action of cos function okay we try to develop student to বলেছি তুমি একটু চেষ্টা করো প্রধান ফলে দেখব এই করে but that kind of possibility obviously you have to think this is just research this is nothing but research and if you can give a fundamental kind of input that's okay at least which will develop our thinking existing kind of whatever the technique is available can we incorporate here okay or which kind of challenge we are facing and to face that kind of challenge what are the kind of necessary arrangement is needed that's the need of research so I think that's the still I am thinking I have never touched this neural network model in Neutrosophic data but I am thinking okay so but one process I think it is needed whenever we tackle the any kind of this kind obviously it will be a complex model obviously you have to simplify that model simplified means fully network connected network will not work you have to reduce some kind of weight that means you have to off some kind of connection so which connection should be off that means designing of this network is very important in MATLAB algorithm etc which kind of algorithm or network will be built that some kind of statistical kind of input you have to think suppose this variable has a huge importance statistically you have proved not from your so maybe that node should be fully connected if some kind of parameter is not so much important maybe few connection will be given or intermediate connection will be given or at least there should not be a bias to this kind of connection that kind of technique we can think but I don't know what will be the feature for the kind of Neutrosophic network in the AI model but it will obviously it will be as my preview or as my assumption that it will run in real life it will solve lots of problems not maybe like on quantum computing that's a drastical change so I think that's all so shall I stop here or I can continue so in that case okay so little bit I just show what are the basically in research paper we are doing at for this model so basically all this open is this আচ্ছা আমি রিসার্চ পেপারে ঢুকতে চাই না হার্ডকোর ম্যাথমেটিক্স ওখানে আমি এই কয়েকটা জিনিস বলা So in six actually one video is there. Sorry, I mean now after 3 years video link taken देखा हमारा तो okay. Basically Six Sigma process, how they follow all these stepwise procedure. So Six Sigma procedure means obviously it's a foolproof kind of procedure. So each and every step some checking is needed. And from management point of view, okay, each and every step they use some kind of indicating number. Okay, generally it is called as risk priority number. So risk priority number is a very common technique or term utilized in Six Sigma procedure. So how we define research priority number? The definition is very simple. S into O into D. Where S is the failure's consequences, O is the occurrence frequency of the failure likely to happen, and D is known as how likely the failure will be detected before it reaches to the customer. Suppose customer basis we are taking this example. So this is the risk priority number. Generally, we have to control this risk priority number. Okay, according to each management they set up, they give a kind of target. System engineer or say maintenance engineer, they have to, at any level, this risk priority number should not be crossed that much, like 650, 500, according to that kind of parameter. Now you see, what are the limitations? That has been introduced in classical kind of calculation. This risk priority number, since you are multiplying this 3 subject score, can mislead the parameter. কিন্তু জিনিস আমি একদম সিম্পলি মাল্টিপ্লাই করে দিচ্ছি, একটু কম বেশি হলে এবার একটা হয়তো শুধু হাই রিস্কে চলে গেছে, অন্যটা হচ্ছে লো দিয়েছে। Actually, that high risk is very dangerous. অন্যটা লো দিয়ে যে টোটাল হচ্ছে দিলে গুণফল ছোট হয়ে গেছে, সেটা হয়তো তোমার 600 যে প্যারামিটার আছে তার নিচে রেখে দিয়েছে, কিন্তু একটা তো একেবারে মেরে ফেলে দিয়েছে, কারণ সে তো অলরেডি ডেড। ওকে, তার মানে হার্ট অ্যাটাক হয়ে গেছে, অন্য প্যারামিটার গুলো ভালো থাকে কি হবে? ওকে, সো বেসিক্যালি দ্যাটস এ মিসলিডিং কাইন্ড অফ থিং। প্রত্যেকটা হচ্ছে ইন্ডিভিজুয়ালি ওরাটাকে আবার মডিফাই করেছে, প্রত্যেকটা ইন্ডিভিজুয়ালি গ্যাপ দেখে তারপর হচ্ছে রিস্ক প্রায়োরিটি নাম্বার দেখে। বাট সিম্পলি রিস্ক প্রায়োরিটি নাম্বার ইজ, তারপর হচ্ছে অ্যাম্বিগুইটি হতে পারে, বিভিন্ন কম্বিনেশনের রিস্ক প্রায়োরিটি নাম্বার একই আছে কিন্তু ডিফারেন্ট কম্বিনেশনে সেম আসতে পারে, কিন্তু বেসিক্যালি রিস্ক প্রায়োরিটি নাম্বার কোনটা কম বেশি, only from রিস্ক প্রায়োরিটি নাম্বার we cannot identify. So in case of Neutrosophic number, how will I identify the risk priority number? So Neutrosophic said that you identified for S 3 components will be there, for I, O, I, these are the three Neutrosophic, okay, 3 factors S, O and D. We assign 3 Neutrosophic value. So here the N RPN, N for Neutrosophic, RPN is the risk priority number. The Neutrosophic risk priority number we define just component wise to add up this thing, but still lots of improvement is possible. Initially it has been defined, but lots of question is there here to define this thing in this way. I will identify, I will raise this question also. This is readily available. I did some mistake here.
Actually, correct. Actually, some kind of mistake.
Sir, here every case or there are 3 parameters, T, I, O. Is this the same as the triangular I number?
Oh, ওটাই বলেছিলাম, আপনি মনে হয় একটা মিস করেছেন। না, একদম ওটা থেকে এসেছে, প্রথমেই ফাজি নাম্বার এসেছে, তারপরে হচ্ছে আমরা দেখেছি যে ওটা হচ্ছে ফাজি নাম্বার, তারপরে ওটা ইনক্লুশনিস্ট এসেছে, ফাজি নাম্বারে একটা মেম্বারশিপ ছিল, তারপরে হচ্ছে দুটো মেম্বারশিপ ফাংশন করা আছে, এটা হলো ইনক্লুশনিস্ট। আচ্ছা, তিনটে কম্পোনেন্ট নেওয়া আছে, সেটাকেই বলা হচ্ছে নিউট্রোসফিক। এটা হচ্ছে 5 নম্বর ইন্ট্রোডিউস হচ্ছে 1965 সালে বাংলাদেশে, তারপরে 1996 হচ্ছে ইন্ট্রোডিউস হচ্ছে অ্যাটমসফিয়ারে, অ্যাকচুয়ালি টুথনেস এন্ড সল্টস ইম্প্রুভিং, দ্যাট ইজ কল্ড হচ্ছে 86 বলছে 86 অ্যাটমসফিয়ার 86 এ করেছিল, ওটা হচ্ছে এক্সটেনশন অফ 5%। তারপরে এখন হচ্ছে 2010 আর কি উনি একটু আটে নামে করেছেন, হচ্ছে ফর্মালি 2010 Arandes which introduced this concept. Basically, this is the latest advancement. 3 components is there. One is smoothness, another is falsity, and another is indeterminacy. 3 components are there. So any kind of data, okay, suppose I already give this kind of example. Whether it agreed with this, say, quality of this thing, 80% goodness about this thing. Let in your view, 30% wrong is there. So falsity is there. And some inexperience and say some kind of indeterminate, no, I'm not confident or anyhow. So this is a indeterminacy kind of this thing. Now any kind of this kind of general indeterminacy, since 3 kinds of kind of component is there. So all this statistical technique individually you have to take it. But individually is also not good kind of thing also, how to accumulate. So basically all our research paper, we already in the first half we try to show actually through basic algebra how to calculate. So what will be the power of that kind of number. Suppose we know what's a real number, like 5, we know 5 square. Okay, real number to real number. Now it is a Neutrosophic number. That to the power, how do you fix this square? Not only this thing, say suppose it's a real number, it's to the power in Neutrosophic number. In the aggregation, that kind of formula will come. Still, there is open one. Okay, Neutrosophic to the power Neutrosophic, nobody can put not define it. That's open problem, but it's a very complicated problem. Okay.
And one will say, group decision taking for which several environment as a group decision, or it will be taking several decision?
No,
several
actually not okay. Group decision making again actually means this thing, but that's a very simple thing. What is this? I already say suppose you have to take a decision. So what is the decision? Suppose forget about high model. Just I want to, that's a real life problem. I want to purchase a car, or I want to purchase a mobile. Now, how you decide? Blindly, you can give the answer without any kind of reason. You can go and say, this is from my emotional, I am doing this thing, that's such another kind of thing. Okay? Now, suppose in a project evaluation, lots of parameters are there. So, which project you choose answer? Okay, differential application is there, job application. I think I already showed such how to calculate that kind of thing using a simple kind of model. Suppose you want to purchase a unit. So you have to take the decision. What is the decision? Which phone? Car shall purchase. So here there are, this is the first step. In second step we have to identify, okay, what are my attributes. Okay, these are the criteria. So I need this kind of space, I need this kind of speed, I need this kind of fuel efficiency, I need that kind of this.
And basically, this group decision from the multi-criteria decision.
Yes, yeah, that is the model. Because there is a group name, that is multi-criteria group. Now this decision can be also there. Yeah.
I have already worked with this.
Okay, then it is fine.
Then I want to let whether this group decision.
No, exactly. This multi-criteria decision, MCD. Okay, now you see, this N RPN is nothing but component wise we can define this thing. Okay. Take one simple example. Suppose a medical device, say pacemaker production. In this case, let's evaluate the risks of battery decays during the pacemaker manufacturing process. Okay, this is my, and due to the limited testing, conflicting expert opinion and incomplete data, use Neutrosophic number to present the survivability S, occurrence O, and detection of default B. Now each parameter we are representing in this three component EX, IX, and Fx. P for fitness function, I for actually F will be in the middle. Okay, F is the velocity and I is the velocity. Okay, in equivalence. We can represent in this way also. No issue. Now we are taking this help. Select help is from leakage. That is S. Okay, let's Neutrosophic rating. To the expert we are getting this value 0.9, 0.05 and 0.05. Okay, and for occurrence we are taking this value. Okay, let for B we are taking this Neutrosophic value. This is the uncertainty. So component wise we can calculate this thing. This is now how do we do this thing? We are getting this data. And in this case, we are getting this value. 2 risk level is significant, but not extreme. Okay? But you see, there is I can immediately see, it has been introduced. I can immediately see some kind of problem. What is the problem? Since all the values are in between 0, 1, that means fractional value. When you are multiplying, it will reducing this risk. Okay, so this is the immediate falseness of this method. So if I want to directly incorporate this kind of technique, it will not sustain. You have to modify this thing. That's the challenge. How we modify? So you just think, student can think. Okay, they can come out with a good kind of solution. And if it is a good kind of solution that you can incorporate in the research paper also. Only this simple kind of concept. You will apply it from the real database, you will apply somewhere else.
Sir, if we take the standardization with these three,
One way of I can suggest one way also. Basically, this is kind of membership function. Then you have to multiply this thing through that thing, but still some kind of problem will occurrence. Somehow we have to think fundamentally to resolve this issue. That's the kind of issue we are facing.
At the basic level, why they have taken multiplication instead of addition?
Actually, that's the fundamental concept. Addition is not a interaction. Multiplication is nothing but interaction. Okay, that's the fundamental algebraical concept. Okay, whenever you will need to meet the interaction between two vectors to information, you have to multiply. Here, addition will not serve the interaction. So whatever this inner, that's the real implication of pure mathematics. So basically, inner product. Okay, kind of inner product. That's nothing but interaction between two vectors. And that's the product. Without product, you will not get the true reflection of interaction. Are you clear? Since you are a mathematics guy, I think you raise this question. Okay, that's a good question also. And its background is actually it's fundamentally hidden in mathematics.
So, like,
any other question?
So, like in that difference, let's say inner product you take cross measurement also take for that difference or similarity. So these kind of things are also
Whenever I already said no, whatever this operator or whatever this extension we proposed, okay, it will not disturb your existing structure. Then only you can incorporate it within the structure. Otherwise, nobody can accept this thing. So whenever we extend this from a spherical fuzzy number or Pythagorean, basically in the fuzzy number system, we incorporated all this property algebra. We have to prove, otherwise nobody will copy. It has to main concept. Concept is established. So lots of concepts which will arise in your mind. But whether it is a scientific concept or not, you have to prove. That's the research. Because lots of concepts will come in your daily mind also, very like mind also. আমি এখান থেকে কলকাতা ট্রাভেল করছি অনেক কিছু মাথার মধ্যে ফিট দিতে হবে whether it is a scientific or can I convert to a real life concept, that's the issue. So basically the concept you have to adapt it in your existing structure, existing system. So existing system mathematically, scientifically you have to adapt. So whatever you proposed, yes, but it will fail most probably. Yeah. So if you can establish, yes, it will be established. And that's the way of research. Nothing else. Research in our level, we have lots of limitations. So we have to perform the research in this level. Any other question? So these are actually this presentation was done long back. Since I did not get any time, I come on with this presentation. Again, mail করেছি আমি ওই প্রেজেন্টেশনটাই পাঠিয়ে দিয়েছি আমি সময়
Sir, I have one thing. How we can apply the data science?
Yes, data science. Actually, see, data science is nothing but from the data you have to apply it. You have to construct a model. Now, what is our concept of model? Model can be a simple, like y is equal to 2x plus 3. That will be treated as a model also. That's a simplistic model to represent the interaction, say, let's say, or average height of parent, average of child. That's a famous example which exists in management. Okay. So, that's the simplest kind of model. So, basically, so whatever the data, which model, all you see, always this mathematical model will be arithmetic. Limited models are arithmetic. Maximum models are of differential equation and most appropriate partial differential equation. But in Neutrosophic, which is said, since it is a growing, obviously its calculus only at the level it has been flourished. Okay, in its such a Neutrosophic function, even it has not been established. So you can say work on this thing. So you have to establish all these things. Then in MCQBM, still we are doing not in a model form. We are just accumulating that data through kind of operator. We are coming to a division. So in data science, if the data are just this imprecise kind of data, only in this way come this kind of division. But don't think this will be applicable everywhere. If this is suitable according to this periphery of this process, then it can basically in our student level I can say, দেখো পৃথিবীর আমার এখন যেটুকু মনে হচ্ছে সবাই একটা করে গাড়ি কিনছে, সবাই অন্তত তো দুদিন হলে সময় নষ্ট, সে যতই এক্সপার্ট হোক এই কোন গাড়িটা কিনবো, এই স্টুডেন্ট লেভেলে একটা ছোট্ট হচ্ছে অ্যাপ তৈরি করতে হবে। ও একটু সমস্ত স্টাডিটা করবে, করে একটা ছোট মডেল করে দিল, তাহলে একটা লোক এসে বললো আমার বাজেটে আমার এই চাই, with the kind of model, at least প্রথম 3 দিলাম, তারপর আমি চুজ করব। That can be a good kind of project, and we can perform that kind of project in our classroom level. You can industry যাওয়ার দরকার নেই, তবে শুধু যার ন্যাক আছে, শুধু গাড়ি দেখে, এ দেখে অনেক ফ্যাকাল্টি গাড়ি দেখে, আমার এক বন্ধু আছে গাড়ি দেখে, করে ভালো, তাহলে আমাদের সবারই উপকার হবে। আমরা জাস্ট ডেটাটা দেবো, কারণ সবাই আমরা টাইম ওয়েস্ট করছি। So we have to think in this way, and these students are very smart. They can be একটুখানি ধরে দেওয়া না, ওরা নিজেরাই খুঁজে বের করবে। আমার কত বলছি খুব প্রবলেম মার্কেট নিয়ে চলে আসবে। So our teaching methodology should be clear kind of concept we have to float in their mind. ওরা না আচ্ছা আমার যেটুকু মনে হয়, maybe I am wrong. Okay, so just I am sharing my experience, nothing else. Any other question? Thank you.
participant has any question, please feel free and raise your questions. Now we come to the end of the session. Okay, the data abstract for this session is multi-criteria group decision making (MCGDM) is an effective and efficient tool to solve intricate problems where different criteria and confliction by nature. Over the last few years, coupling and amalgamation of MCGDM analysis under the Imprecise environment, especially in Neutrosophic setting, have gained significant interest to its better capability in handling uncertainty, indeterminacy and inconsistency than traditional fuzzy and intuitionistic approaches. This lecture attempts to review the contemporary outlook of MCGDM in the framework of Neutrosophic realm, highlighting the recent advancement, approaches and applications in various sectors. There are, however, some hurdles left to be crossed, such as art on computational complexity, inconsistency in information acquisition, and the need for strong decision support models. While another dimension of the practical side of implementation would include the issue of subjective data collection and expert bias. Here is an in-depth study of these challenges has been presented along with proposal for future studies that will help improve the application and performance of MCGDM technique. Thank you for the session. Thank you, sir. Now, there will be a hands-on training session in lab number 5. So, in 4:30, we gather in lab number 5.
एक ग्रुप पता होगा